I would be more inclined to buy this doll if I could get a little peek behind the curtain. Give us a little bit of behind the scenes information so we understand why is the price at the point that it's at. Hey everybody, welcome back. So this is kind of an impromptu video, and I don't know if it might end up taking place of one of the other videos that I scheduled to go up, but I haven't finished editing yet. I don't know. But anyway, so if you haven't seen, Mattel is releasing a new Cinderella and Tiana collector doll, and they are going to be $55 roughly, like $54.99 or something around that price. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is a picture of Tiana and here is a picture of Cinderella. Now, I don't normally make videos like this. It's just not the type of video that I normally make, but I get a lot of questions about these dolls, and like things get kind of brought up surrounding the dolls, the quality, and the price point. And I get asked these so often in my videos, and like a lot of times I'll get questions about other dolls under videos that have nothing to do with those dolls and stuff like that. So like, I know, I get it, like you guys are curious, so I figured, you know, for the people that are curious about my personal opinion, I figured I would go ahead and just make a quick video about it. Obviously, quick disclaimer, this is just my opinion. It's not, and a lot of the stuff in it, like I said, it's my opinion. It's not like facts or anything like that. Obviously, I don't work for Mattel or for MGA or for any of these other doll companies. I don't know what like goes on behind the scenes and what goes into the decision-making process, but I have heard things from other people, other doll collectors, other stuff like that. So I'm just basically going based off of my experience and stuff that I know or have heard from other people. But at the end of the day, this is just my opinion, and we're just going to kind of leave it at that. Now, I am on my lunch break at work, so it might feel a little bit rushed. Like I said, it's going to be a shorter video anyway, but I'll try and like show pictures as I'm talking about stuff. But I am going to be eating lunch while I'm doing this, so I apologize. So the very first thing that I want to say about this topic is that there is a very big difference between cost and value. I've said it before, and I will say it again. Cost and value are two completely different things. Now, I'm doing this on the fly. I haven't, like, what I probably should have done is waited till I got home and thought this out and, like, wrote down, like, talking points and stuff like that. And maybe I'll do that later on if I end up rambling and not liking what I'm saying here. But essentially, the cost of something is just the price that's put on it, but the value of something is what somebody sees in it. And the cost and the value are not always going to be the same for everybody. There are some people that are hardcore fans of like one specific doll line, for example, but they may not be a fan of another doll line, and you know, they're not willing to pay as much money for this other doll line if it's not one that they don't feel as strongly about. So that's a factor when talking about doll collecting. So for example, I'm going to use the Mattel Alice in Wonderland doll that was released recently on Mattel Creations, and it sold for $100. I am a very passionate Alice in Wonderland collector, especially when it comes to dolls, because I'm also a doll collector. I love Alice in Wonderland. I have a lot of nostalgia built around it because of my grandmother, and I've kind of went into a story about this in a previous video, so I'm not going to like bore you with the details for that right now. But I really, really like Alice in Wonderland. So when this doll came out, I knew I was getting her regardless. It didn't matter, because of the fact that it's a collector level doll and I liked what I saw in the pictures, I was happy with it, and I decided to buy the doll for the price that it was. The doll was $100, and she doesn't have her tights on her legs, and she does not have wrist articulation, but other than that, she is fully articulated. It looks like there is multiple layers to her outfit and stuff like that, and she's got a cloth bow instead of a ribbon bow and everything. Once I get the doll in, I think, October, I will do a review and an unboxing, so I'm going to go way more in detail. Don't worry about that. I'll go over that. But for me, I looked at that price point for a collector level doll, And I decided I wanted that. The value of what I was getting was worth the cost for me because I liked what I saw and I knew I wanted it and I was willing to pay that price. Would I have preferred the doll to be $10? Absolutely. But at that same, quality level, yeah, I would love the doll to be free. I would love to be gifted the doll. Somebody else buy it. I don't want to pay my money. Like I like having money. But at the end of the day, I also know that if I want to have something, you have to pay money to have it, right? So at that point, you just have to decide, is it worth it to you personally? The reason I wanted to point that out is because I see a lot of people complaining about, for example, the Alice in Wonderland doll and comparing her to other dolls in ways that I don't feel is a fair comparison or that I don't necessarily fully agree with. And they're taking the stance of shame on you, Mattel. Like that's their argument or that's what they have to say about it. But I don't necessarily share that sentiment. That being said, I also have seen, ever since Rainbow High came out, I've seen people comparing Rainbow High to Barbie, Rainbow High to Monster High, Rainbow High to this, OMG to Barbie, all these comparisons back and forth, and seeing what MGA is delivering to us versus what Mattel is delivering to us. Or what any doll company is delivering to us compared to any other doll company. I see comparisons going left and right. The thing is, or at least the way I see it is, all these companies are different. And what we're seeing versus what we're not seeing from the behind the scenes stuff, we don't always know the reasons behind certain things. All of these companies are out to get money. They are to make money. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they're greedy, they're horrible to their customers, blah, 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 blah. I'm not in that mindset. I'm not looking at it that way. They are a business. A business is meant to make money, right? It's meant to make a living. It's meant to bring in dollars, or whatever. So at the end of the day, yeah, a company is going to want to be profitable. That's the whole point. So I'm not mad at them for wanting to find ways to make money, whether it's by cutting costs, offering new products, whatever, they want to be profitable. That's the whole point of a business. That being said, they obviously have to be mindful. If they're selling a product, you have to be mindful of the customer, because if your product is bad enough or too expensive or both or whatever, customers won't buy it if they're not happy. So there has to be some level of customer satisfaction. Now, when they're making these products, obviously they're sourcing materials from places, they're sourcing labor from other places, all these things are happening, and there's a lot of factors that go into the decision-making process when it comes to choosing the price. I'm just going to stick to dolls because that's what we're talking about in this video. But for dolls specifically, the materials used, the labor to make the dolls, to put them together and everything, the assembly lines, all that stuff in China or wherever, Indonesia, all these factors come into play. Then you also have to factor in things like design details, how many items are coming in, will retail stores buy these dolls to put on their shelves so customers have access to them, stuff like that. And of course, you also have to consider, is there licensing involved? Like with Mattel doing Disney dolls. They have the license to do Disney dolls, but they also have to factor in that it's not just Mattel making money, it's also Disney that now has to get a cut as well. So that's going to make the price go up a little. Same thing with Monster High with the Skeletor series, and they have Chucky or Pennywise or all these other characters that are intellectual properties of other companies. Same concept. You also have to consider, is the company that we're talking about public? MGA is still a private company, but Mattel is publicly owned, so they have shareholders that also get a say in the decision-making process and the creative process in deciding what is the final product going to be and what is the price point and all this other stuff. So when you consider all of these factors that I'm mentioning, all these different things, it becomes a very complicated thing. It's not just we're going to make a doll, put it on the shelf, we'll slap a $15 price tag on it. It's not as cut and dry as that. There's a lot of factors because the amount of accessories, articulation, the quality of the materials used, all these things play a part. And it's also not the individual doll. Sometimes if you look at like Barbie Fashionista, for example, the Barbie Fashionista line runs a consistent price across the board for all of the dolls in the line, for the most part. And it's roughly around $10, well, $10 or $11 roughly, depending on what shop you're at. But some of the dolls have better quality hair than others. Some of the dolls have better quality outfits. Some may have additional accessories that others don't have. But what happens is when you have multiple dolls in a line and they're all at the same price, some of them may cost less to produce, where others may cost a little bit more, but the average averages out to about $10 a doll. So that's how that kind of thing can happen. Now, I know I'm just kind of like mentioning a whole bunch of stuff to consider when thinking about like the doll's price and stuff like that. And it kind of feels like I'm starting to ramble a little bit. I have a point. When you think of all of the things that I just talked about, that really kind of like gives us the end result of what we see on the shelves and what we're buying and stuff like that. So it's different situations and then different products offering different things. And the prices are going to be different for different reasons, depending on the company and depending on all these things, right? Because of that, that is the reason why I don't talk too much about price and value on my channel. I mean, I mention the price so that way you're aware. And my whole point of view when I'm doing doll reviews and stuff like that is I want to give you the information that you need, plus my opinion, because I know a lot of you watch my videos because you're curious about my opinion. And just offer up my opinion, but then you can take that information and do whatever you want with it. You can make your own decision if you're going to buy something, if the value is worth the price, or, however you want to think of that. So when people complain about MGA or they complain about Mattel and they start doing the finger wagging and they start saying, shame on you, they should know better, or they're treating their customers terribly. Are they though? Because at the end of the day, if a product doesn't sell, it's not successful, so they don't sell it. There's a lot of things to consider there. So that has been my mindset up until recently. All right, so let's circle back to the original dolls that I mentioned, the new Cinderella and the new Tiana dolls from Mattel that are coming out. These dolls are absolutely beautiful. I love their faces. I like their hair. I'm assuming the hair is saran, because so far all of the Disney dolls that I've personally got from Mattel recently have all been saran, so fingers crossed. They have the basic 5 points of articulation, or at least it looks like it from these pictures that I'm looking at. Also, their dresses are, I feel like there was a little bit of some kind of lost in translation from the concept art to the final product, because I'm sure that the concept art looked cool in concept, but then when they put it into practicality, I'm not a fan of the materials that they use just by looking at it. It kind of looks like some of the hems are unfinished or just, I don't know, the materials that they decided to use, the length of the dress and stuff like that. The dresses have 3 layers or 3 or 4 layers, and plus they have the additional hardware, like the vacuumized metal plastic thing. It looks pretty, but these really do look like playline dolls, basically, for me. These are kind of giving me what Hasbro was giving us, like the Style series from Disney. Like, it's kind of Mattel's version of that in a way, but the price point is higher, I feel like. I think that the Style series were anywhere from $25 to $30 around that. But for these dolls, that they're at the $55 price point, so their price point is higher. Now, I just have to say, I do want these dolls. I think that they are beautiful and they're fun. I do like them, and I like Disney dolls, and I like these characters. I like having dolls of these characters, so I do want them. However, I don't think that these are worth $50 or $55. The cost and the value in this case is not really for me. I don't think I'm going to be buying these dolls, at least not at full price. If they go on sale, I might get them, but the price that they're currently at is not a price that I'm currently willing to pay for what I'm seeing in these pictures. Now, for these particular dolls, it's one of two things, I feel like. Either these are test dolls that Mattel is putting out to see, to test the market. They want to see, how successful is this? Are people willing to buy these? You know what I mean? They're just testing the waters to see, will this product sell? Because if they make these dolls and then they sell out really, really quick, they're going to keep doing it at this price point because they know it's successful. People are willing to pay it. Because we've already gotten the budget dolls. Now it's time to kind of go on the other end of the spectrum. They've already given us the $100 Alice doll. They already gave us the $25 Tinkerbell doll, live action Tinkerbell, and then the $50 Tinkerbell collector doll, which, by the way, I do have that doll. I did a review, and if you want to see that video, I'll put a link up here in the corner so you can click on that and go watch that video if you want. But as of right now, Mattel is kind of giving us all over the place with quality and price. There's a big range that they're covering right now, and I feel like it's testing the market to see what is going to be successful, what is going to sell with this Disney line. Now, that being said, the other thing that it could be is that there is just decisions that are being made behind the scenes that are not being shared with us as a consumer. So we're not seeing, where is that price going? Why is it that expensive? Has the cost of polypropylene gone up recently? Stuff like that, you know, like there's things that maybe we don't know as consumers because we don't need to know, that's causing these prices to go up, separate from inflation, you know? Like, I know that inflation is definitely a thing. If you look at the prices of dolls today versus the prices of dolls in 2019, there's a very noticeable difference there. But I don't know if that is feeding into it or not. So I feel like it's one of those two things. It's either that there's, you know, prices that are going up in ways that we're not aware of as consumers behind the scenes, or Mattel is doing it on purpose to literally just to test the waters. I don't know what it is, but personally, I would be more inclined to buy this doll if I could get a little peek behind the curtain. Give us a little bit of behind the scenes information so we understand why is the price at the point that it's at. I mean, it's not $75 or $100 or something like that. It's $55, but still, that's more than what I would consider a comfortable price for what I'm seeing here. Especially since I prefer dolls with more articulation, and that usually makes the doll more expensive. And I prefer dolls with nicer outfits, and that makes the doll more expensive. I'm not getting either from this. I'm getting a fun outfit, but it looks playline to me. It doesn't look high quality, but I'm also just basing it off of the pictures, to be fair. I will allow that this is more of like a first impression based off promotional imagery. Obviously, I don't have the doll in person to like really know for sure how I feel about it or see what it's actually like. But just looking at the picture, this is what I'm getting. All right, that's my 2 cents on the subject. Some of you guys have asked for it. Some of you didn't ask for it, but here it is if you were wondering. But yeah, just in case you were curious, I do not plan to buy these dolls at full price, even though I do like them. I don't feel that the value is there for me personally in this particular instance. Anyway, I need to get going because I only have so much time on my lunch break and I still have to finish my nuggets. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments down below. Let's start a discussion about this. Please be respectful of other people's opinions and let's not do any hate or like hateful messages about this topic. I know it can be a pretty controversial or like people can get really passionate about this topic, but let's keep it civil, let's be polite, but let's have a conversation. So leave comments down in the comment section down below. Also, let me know if you like this style of video. This was literally off the cuff. It was a random thing. I had a thought and I wanted to talk about it. So I just, on my lunch break at work, started recording. Let me know what you think of these kind of videos. I'm going to finish my lunch really quick and get going for right now, but thanks so much for watching. I hope I see you next time. Bye. If you like this video, you can let me know by hitting thumbs up. You can check out some of my other videos by clicking one of the links on the screen. I post new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified every time I upload. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.